Welcome to my channel. I'm Gary Wiryawan, and today I want to share to you my best budget everyday micro four thirds camera and lens setup. Intro. So today I want to share to you some of my everyday budget micro four thirds camera and lens setup. Budget meaning that it is the most cost-efficient solution for what you are trying to do, and everyday meaning you can use it for everyday kind of photography stuff. So general out and about photography, scenery photography, a little bit of portrait, or even you can do a little bit of street photography or even travel photography if you need to. So all of the cameras and lenses that I will share mostly will be brand new. However, it's a little bit difficult to find these cameras these days, so hopefully in the future we will have more option. But if you are okay going with used items, I think you will have more options. First, let's talk about the camera, and my first choice is the Panasonic Lumix G7, which looks something like my Panasonic Lumix G85, and it's a great camera. Compared to my G85, it's just missing the in-body stabilizer and the weather sealing. So it has great manual control, it's very easy to operate, it has EVF and also fully articulating screen. So it's a very flexible camera for both photo and video, making it very useful and versatile. So you can do all sorts of different kinds of photography and video with that camera. And it will cost you around US $500. Next budget camera option is the Panasonic Lumix GX880. Over here, I have the Panasonic Lumix GX850, the older version of that camera. This is also a good option. The main difference between this guy and the 880 is that the 880 has a small thumb grip on this area right here, so making it easier to handle because this is such a small camera. Compared to the G7, this is a much smaller camera. It doesn't have EVF, it doesn't have in-body stabilizer, it doesn't have many great features, and even manual control is a little bit dinky on this camera. But the main strength of this camera is that it's very small, it's very lightweight, making it perfect for a portable solution camera with interchangeable lens capability. Perfect for travel photography, or if you just want a small camera that you can carry around every day. So yeah, this camera will cost you definitely less than $500 US. My GX850 cost me around $350 US brand new. So yeah, not an expensive option. However, please keep in mind that these cameras are now getting very difficult to find. If you are okay with used camera, now we have more options. Over here, I have the Panasonic Lumix GX85, one of my favorite cameras. And compared to the GX880 or the GX850, the GX85 will have more features, especially in-body stabilizer and more manual control. Or you can go to something like the Panasonic Lumix G85, which is similar to the G7, but it has in-body stabilizer and also weather sealing. Or you can also choose the Panasonic Lumix GX9 for a used price of around $600 maybe or $500 US. Or you can go to Olympus cameras if you don't really need advanced video features. For example, the Olympus EM10 series, they are a great camera as well for still photography. Right, now let's talk about lenses, and the first lens that I will recommend for your budget micro four thirds setup is this guy right here. This is the Panasonic Lumix 12 to 32mm f3.5 to f5.6. Basically, this is the kit lens that will come to most of the newer Panasonic Lumix cameras. And I think this lens is really great for a budget micro four thirds setup, mostly because it is very flexible. It's a zoom lens, and it's very small and very compact. The image quality is more than good enough in my opinion. So this is perfect for your scenery photography, a little bit of landscape photography, environmental portrait, also for a little bit of maybe product photography or food photography. This can do it all. The only thing that this lens cannot do really well is for the a depth of field effect for that background blur, and also a little bit of the low light capability because it doesn't have large aperture. So if you buy it separately, if your camera doesn't have this kit lens, it will cost you around maybe $100. Next lens that I recommend is the Panasonic Lumix 14mm f2.5, this guy right here. So for brand new, you can find it for less than $300. However, if you are okay with used lens, you can find it as low as $100. So this is a little bit of an alternative compared to the usual kit lens, as I mentioned before, the 12-32, because this guy has a larger f2.5 aperture, so you can get a little bit more background blur or depth of field effects, and also it is a little bit better for low light performance. The lens is so small, so lightweight, and the image quality is really sharp, and it's just so nice to use. So yeah, the focal length 14mm is a little bit on the wide side. So I think it is a versatile focal length. I much prefer to have something wider rather than something that's too tight because it is more flexible. You can use it for scenery photography. Street photography is especially good with this lens. And also for a little bit of landscape, environmental portrait, you can use this lens as well. It's quite a versatile lens. It's a little bit on the wide side, as I mentioned earlier. However, if you need to have something tighter, you can just go closer to your subject and compensate for the wider focal length of this guy. Next lens that I can recommend for your budget Micro Four Thirds setup is the Panasonic Lumix 20mm f1.7, this guy right here. So yeah, for brand new, you can find it around $300 or less. For used one, you can find it even cheaper. So basically with this lens, you have a slightly tighter focal length compared to the 14mm. So yeah, you get more pronounced background blur, especially with the larger f1.7 aperture. So this is perfect for street photography. For product photography, food photography looks especially great with this guy. And also for environmental portrait, you get more background blur, more 3D kind of effect, and more pronounced subject as well. The image quality is also really sharp. Everything about this lens is just so nice. So yeah, this is kind of an alternative to the 14mm if you need something tighter. Next lens is the Olympus 45mm f1.8 or the Panasonic Lumix 42.5mm f1.7. So you can find these guys brand new for, again, less than $300. So this is perfect for complementing the other lenses that I already mentioned, the 12-32, the 14mm and the 20mm, because this is a longer telephoto lens. This has a large aperture as well, so making it perfect for creating that glorious background blur, bokeh effect, especially for portrait and for product photography. And also this is great for distant landscape photography as well to get that compression effect. Alternatively, you can go to the Panasonic Lumix 35-100mm f4 to f5.6 if you need a little bit more flexibility and versatility, because this guy is a zoom lens. You can zoom in, you can zoom out as you please, and pick out any detail on the scenery that you need to have a close-up of. So this doesn't have the large aperture like the Olympus 45mm. This is only f4 to f5.6. So the background blur effect is not as pronounced as the Olympus lens, but the versatility is just excellent. You can go to 35mm if it's too tight, or if it's too wide, you can zoom in all the way to 100mm. This is the best for distant landscape photography and for just travel photography. If you need a small telephoto lens that can especially fit into the palm of your hand. Alternatively, there's also the Panasonic Lumix 45-150mm f4 to f5.6 telephoto lens. So a similar type of lens to the 35-100. It's a little bit larger. It has more reach compared to this guy, and the image quality is also as excellent as this guy. And it's cheaper. It's about $200. So that's a nice budget option. However, if you have the money, I will still recommend the 35-100 compared to the 45-150, simply because it is smaller and you're more likely to take it with you and take some nice shots with it. So yeah, those are all the cameras and lenses that I can recommend to you to create your own version of the perfect budget Micro Four Thirds camera and lenses setup. All you have to do right now is to mix and match the cameras with the lenses to get your own personal setup. So for example, you can choose the Panasonic G7 together with the kit lens 12 to 32mm lens right here, and probably it will cost you around $600. If you want to add a telephoto lens, for example, the kit lens together with the Olympus 45mm, you'll probably spend around $900 with the G7, or maybe $800 with the GX880. And if, for example, you need a little bit more flexibility on the telephoto lens, probably you will choose the 35 to 100 together with the kit lens, and with the G7, probably it will cost you around $1,000. Or if you want to go into a full prime setup with the 14, 20, and 45 with one of the camera bodies, probably you will spend around $1,400 or so. So yeah, just pick and choose and combine as you like. And that wraps up today's video. So that is all for the budget Micro Four Thirds setup video. Hopefully this has been helpful, inspiring, informative. So please let me know in the comment down below, what is your own budget setup that you love to use? Also, if you have any question, please comment down below as well. I will try my best to answer them. Also, don't forget to support my channel by liking this video, sharing this video, subscribing to my channel down below. Or if you want to support my channel even further, consider using the affiliate links on the description, or use the super thanks button to make a small donation to my channel. Thank you, and I'll see you on the next video. Goodbye.